Is the Line 6 Helix still relevant in 2024? Should you buy it anymore? We're going to talk about it in this video.
So back early 2024, this year, January, before NAMM, we got to go to Calabasas, which is not too far from Anaheim anyways, and chat with and hang out with the team at Line 6. They are owned by Yamaha, so we got to check them out too. That's actually a recent thing in the last decade or so. It's not always been the case, but we got to sit down with two of the primary minds behind the Helix. They gave us a lot of like history and backstory behind the units. We got to ask some like technical stuff. We have videos. There's 2 to 3 that there exist. Like, you know, there's like one that's more of a vlog, or, you know, you can kind of just more fun. If you like our stuff, you'll like that thing. And then there's 2 more informative videos. We actually have another one. But anyways, there's a few videos, and the common themes there were just talking about like the staying power of the Helix from them. And so you can watch those videos if you want, but we want to distill all that and kind of offer some of our thoughts as well about, because I see this in forums, somebody, you know, and it's a fair question. It's a valid question. Okay, the Helix has been out, what was it, 2016?
Yeah, it's almost 10 years
for
now.
computers, for hardware.
It's old stuff.
That's old. Apple has, in the length of time the Helix has existed, Apple's released like 5 phones.
Yeah.
So is it relevant? It's a fair question. Like, somebody wants to know, if I'm going to buy this, if I'm finally going to do this, am I going to buy this and it's going to like, they're going to release another thing?
We see a lot of questions in like Facebook groups and on the internet. One, if I buy it, you know, in the middle of 2024, is the Helix the next thing, that the successor going to come out right after? That stinks if you buy something and then it's like it gets replaced immediately. Then the question is, it's like 10 years old. Can it compete with the newer products on the market? Quad Cortex, Tonex, Fractal gear, which Fractals, their modeling has been out almost the same amount of time, like Axfix 3. So we're going to give you like at least 3 points today why, spoiler, we think yes.
Yes, that is the answer. But you probably want to know why.
The Helix, and really it's not just Helix, it's the HX platform. The Helix, the HX Stomp, the Podgo, the LT, Helix Native. It's all, you should still buy it and use it. It's all still very relevant.
That's what we're saying yes to, by the way, in case I wasn't clear.
So point number 1, we don't think Helix 2 is coming soon.
Like or whatever the successor is, correct. Yeah,
we're calling it Helix 2.
But yeah.
Side note, I don't know if Helix 2 is ever coming.
Well,
based on some conversations.
They may be releasing something. Yes, it may not be called Helix 2, but you have to.
Who knows what it's going to be called?
Any company, I know what I'm talking about. Any company that wants to stay relevant themselves is always working on making something better. So Line 6, the proof is in the pudding here. They keep updating this thing.
Yeah.
So clearly they believe in it. What if we just sit on it and they just like, we're just going to keep making updates and never.
Yeah. It's going to get better and better and better.
Yeah. Or the other option is obviously the successor is being worked on because you can't not. How are you going to make money?
Right.
But
and so
this year, maybe not.
We were reading between the lines. You know, we had private conversations with them and then public conversations, like in our interview that we did with them, which you can see all that linked below. Of course, they're not telling us. They can't tell us, oh, yeah, come into this back room. We'll show you the next thing we're doing. Here it is. Don't tell anyone. Like, they can't do that legally. Yeah. So we don't know any insider information. What we're telling you in this video is sort of we reading between the lines of things they said, sort of our predictions.
We're doing a reaction video to our own video.
That's right. That's exactly what's happening. But it was clear to us that two things clear to us. One, Line 6, Yamaha Guitar Group, they're playing a very long game.
Yeah.
They're being very patient.
Yeah.
That was clear based on things that they've said to us. And I think Helix is probably still selling. Helix, HX Stomp, Podgo, all this HX platform. It's probably still selling well for them too.
I would say even in the last 2-3 years, there was a massive uptick. It just feels like more people in the last few years have adopted using this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And or HX Stomp with a board. I mean, they've got so many iterations of this. Like they've got their modeling in so many form factors. You can use it in such a wide variety of use cases.
Yeah.
So they're being patient. And the other thing is I don't think they're interested in doing what their version of what another company is doing.
Eric said that.
He said that straight up.
Yeah.
They're interested in innovating and bringing something new and groundbreaking to the market when they bring something new to the market. So to us, that tells us that they're not going to just make a quad cortex. They're not going to okay, we'll update our modeling and make capturing and then put it in a box with a touch screen because that's a quad cortex. You know, they're not going to do that. At least that's our take on what we heard. Yeah. They're planning to do something different, something what they would consider more innovative. And I'm sure Neural DSP is thinking, what can we do that's more innovative? Everyone's doing this. But one, they're patient. Two, they're not interested in just copying someone else's homework.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing is not only have they just been updating the unit since it came out, it's like they are revamping and upping the game completely. We basically have, even though it's the same unit, they have changed how they model amps, basically, or they've stepped it up a level. The last several updates, 3, 4, 5 updates maybe, the amps they take more DSP.
Yeah.
Right? But they're I think the Princess is what they call it, the Princeton.
Yeah.
I think that was one I remember being there's something a little bit better, even though it's a different amp.
They've claimed that they don't change the process, but it sounds better.
There's something about
Something's going on.
Yeah. They have released their own versions of amps, which the way they described it was when you make an ACT or an AC30 to put into the Helix.
This was an interesting conversation in the interview.
This was fun. And it was it was Ben. He was you have to look at all the quirks and build them into the thing because that's what people expect.
Yeah.
If there's something about the amp that doesn't, for example, a Fender, you crank up Fender Dirt, it's an Fender amp with Dirt, it kind of flubs out. It's not always pleasant. You can fix that with certain controls, but they're not going to go ahead and tweak it in the digital version. They want it to make sound exactly as the original.
They call it warts and all modeling.
There you go. That's right. That's right. However, they released the line was 5, 7 amps.
The Carillion, the Kinetic,
All these were their takes on amps where they said, we're going to make them the way we want to. And sure, this one, the Carillion, was the one inspired by an AC30, basically.
Yeah, Carillion, that one.
However, they were we wanted to make it our way. So they have 2 AC30s, they have an AC15, and then they have the Carillion, or again, whatever it's called. And that's they have similar characteristics, but they were just we're going to make this thing how we would envision an AC30 should be in the digital world.
Yeah.
So they keep issuing updates.
Yeah.
And they're not the last one they did that gave bass players the Nobles preamp thing, which is pretty dope. If you don't know about that, bass players wait 6 to 8 months for that thing, and it's pricey as is. But if you don't, it's like a King of Tone, the resale market's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they gave bass players that, and they keep putting out good stuff. They're not just issuing small things.
Yeah, it's like new amps, new effects, completely. It's every time they do a firmware update, it's like you've got, 15 grand new of new hardware in your Line 6 thing. Speaking of, continually updating this thing, while we were there, they had like this presentation for the people that came to the event. And it was like, here's what's coming in the next firmware. I think it's in our vlog.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the next amps in the firmware update. That's all we could.
Yes.
They were like, no cameras.
Yes.
So they're still adding awesome stuff via firmware to this platform.
Yeah, I would think if they weren't, like, we'd have to go a while without an update to, like, feel like.
Yeah.
But it's like just when people get antsy, which is funny, people, like, I see posts all the time. When's the next update? I'm like, what do you need?
They just gave you one.
What do you need?
Yeah.
It's free. So, okay, the last thing. And Brian, I say stuff like this, and you laugh at me, but it's true. Just because something new comes out, and it may be better, it does not mean, this is our last point, this does not mean that the Helix suddenly is going to sound worse. Will it lose value in the resale market?
Yeah.
Sure. However, I don't think that really should matter for all digital unit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's going to start sounding worse.
No. And it sounds great.
It does.
Sounds great.
And we have a video breaking this down too, where we talk about like how to choose the modeler that's best for you. Mm-hmm. And all around, our vote is the Helix, and people think that we're just like straight up fanboys.
Or, you just want to sell Well, we make patches and presets for everything.
I think in our case here also is we offer free stuff. You don't even have to buy stuff from us.
Yeah.
So that should just prove like we're not out to. But this thing, the usability, you can use it at your feet and like adjust things. There's even ways to adjust like parameters. I always forget about this.
Oh yeah, but
of an effect
with your feet.
Yeah, you can even adjust parameters of like a block with your feet. Yeah, I don't do it often, but
press and hold and then use the expression. But yeah, cool.
But then you have an expression pedal. No other unit has an expression built in. Well, the headrush stuff does, but like that, the editor is great. It works well.
I still think this form factor and the usability of it with the capacitive touch buttons, and I still think it's unbeaten today. Nothing else has the usability the Helix does.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, you love Axe Effects. We would say...
Oh, I love Fractal.
Yeah, we would say the edge goes to them because of, like, sounds and, like, effects and amp tones. Sure. But, like, it's the usability is not as good as this.
And speaking of, yes, that's true.
We could go on. This is a little bit of a tangent.
There's a video... if it's out, it'll be linked below. If it's not, it's coming soon, so subscribe. There's a video. Like Bradford said, I've been an Axe Effects 3 user for a long time for my live rig. It's been my main thing. The other day, a few weeks ago, I used Helix Live for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, you've been moving and all that.
Yeah, we kept saying over and over, and we don't just say it, we experience it with our new Gen 2 tone match presets, which also linked below. For Helix, they sound like you play the Helix version of the Marshall Super 100, which we recently released. You play the Axe Effects version, and you just switch back to back. And we have a switcher set up. We just push a button and switch, and it's like they sound so close that it's hard to tell the difference.
It is.
And so I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to use this thing live, and it was awesome. Yeah. I couldn't believe. I mean, I was just blown away by how great it sounded live.
All over again.
That's
a fun experience.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a content about that on the channel. The in-ear monitor videos from that weekend will be on the channel. The thing still sounds awesome, and it hangs with everything. Yeah, so I think to wrap up, again, our prediction, I don't think Helix 2, successor to this unit, is coming this year.
Yeah.
Maybe ever. Maybe the next thing they make, it won't be called Helix anything. It'll be something completely different.
Oh, it's AI guitar. You don't plug into anything. AI just generates the tone as you play.
Yeah. So I think about what I want to sound like, and I play, and I sound. They're continuing to upgrade this thing, make it better over time. It's all free. They're not charging you for any of that. I think they've led the way in that they've influenced the market. They and Fractal both. Fractal does it.
Well, Fractal issues like new firmware like every Friday. That annoys.
There for a while they did.
That annoys the snot out of me. people want to joke and say that like every new unit that comes out, somebody always says sounds just like the real thing, and I'm like, but see, that's the greatness of technology and advancement, is that somebody else, not me, is going to figure out how to make something sound better, and we're gonna be like, whoa, I'm even more impressed. This thing sounds incredible right now.
It's very, very good.
Yes.
And while we were filming this video, my doorbell rang, and I have a new matchless amplifier that has been delivered.
A not so common one.
A not so common one. Bradford has to go to the airport in 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes to open this box up and crank it.
Hey, if you would like to purchase what we have made out of this matchless, are we telling them, Brian?
Yeah, let's tell them. Independence 35.
Yes, it is
It's a 3-channel.
It's not like super well known, but we'll have stuff for it. So stay tuned.
I asked Phil at Matchless if I was going to get any matchless amp, what would you suggest? He goes, go old school versatility, 3 channels, Independence 35.
It sounds really crazy to think that there's a matchless amp with 3 channels.
He said the last channel is colored red for fire. That's what he said.
I want to breathe the fire.
Let's do it.
Give me fuel. Give me fire.
That which I desire.
That which I desire.
We desire you to subscribe to the channel.
That is a perfect segue.
So please do hit the bell.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.